As time went by, after not only making submission, but after Theo van Gogh was killed, I got a lot of attention from the press here in the United States and in Europe, and I continued to participate in this debate on Islam, Muslims, and our national security. And in October of 2010, I believe, I took part in one of the debates that I took part in was for Intelligence Squared, based here in New York. I debated Maajid Nawaz, and the motion that was to be debated was Islam is a religion of peace. Of course, I took the position that Islam is not a religion of peace. It could one day become a religion of peace, but at the moment it is not. Maajid was on the other side of the motion. He was defending the motion. He was saying Islam is a religion of peace. Today, Maajid and I have become very good friends, and he has changed positions. He now says, and has written a wonderful book with Sam Harris, that what Islam really needs is to go through a reformation, to go through a process of enlightenment like other religions. And I do welcome that. That makes me optimistic, because I believe that human beings, once you appeal to their reason, I think every human being is endowed with reason. Once they get to, they're allowed to think things through, and once they stop being terrified, and religion does that, and Islam in particular does that, is, people get terrified, they are too scared to think. But once that happens, once people are not scared and are able to think through these things, then they evolve like Maajid. And I think there is a very real possibility that Muslims can become like Maajid Nawaz, evolve, move forward, and embrace the values of the Enlightenment. I think the point that Maajid was making that night in October was that if you look at the core scripture of Islam, that it is peaceful, and that he was making the point that I've had many Muslims make, that it is Muslims who are violent, but the creed itself is peaceful. And okay, I was frustrated, and of course I'm always frustrated by people who take this position, because all you have to do is look at the creed itself. Open the Quran and read it, and read these verses that urge believers to be violent. Look at not only what Muhammad said, which is so obviously violent, but what he did. This man led wars, he led campaigns to Islamize. He oversaw his men beheading people. He participated in the beheading of people he designated as enemies. So to argue that scripture itself and the founder of Islam was peaceful is, it's false, and it's frustrating to listen to that. It's frustrating to listen to people who are educated, who are able to read and write, who are able to reflect on this history and hear them make excuses for this. It's very frustrating. But again, I grew up a Muslim myself, and every time as a young woman I would have a question mark about any of these issues, I remember just being too terrified internally within my own conscience, terrified of being burned to hell, burning in hell, living in eternal fire. So even though I was frustrated, I still understand where that comes from.